Hi, everybody, and welcome to Community Cleric. My amazing guest tonight is Fenway. I am so excited. We booked this like months ago, like April, March,
I'm pretty
maybe.
sure. I think it was like beginning of April.
It was a while ago, and I'm so excited for this. Thank you for being my guest tonight. I'm so excited to get to talk to you and find out about the young. I don't know. I'm super old. Like the ring light's kind of hiding it, but I'm like maybe even your mom age. Like in an uncomfortable way for me. So I'm super excited to get to talk to you and find out all these amazing things about you. Thank you to everybody who's in chat. As I said, my name is Sarah. I live here in Mi'kma'ki. This is the ancestral unceded territories of the Mi'kmaq people in Nova Scotia, Canada. And I am so honored to have Fenway as my guest tonight. Fenway is an incredible young woman who is a nerd through and through. It just takes one, we talk a lot about looking through people's Twitter media just to kind of see what's going on. And just the t-shirts alone give you enough nerd cred. I think last night as I was looking through, I saw a really cool Demogorgon Stranger Things shirt, and a Star Wars shirt. And obviously, you have that TTRPG cred. And then if everybody just takes a look at Fenway's shelf, maybe we're going to get to see a little bit of a pet of a bearded dragon later tonight. And I'm super excited about that. Please, we're going to put Fenway's stuff in chat. So go and take a second to go click all the follows and do all of that. Fenway, thank you for being here with me tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I am so excited for this. I've been excited since when you first asked me to do it. So it's been a long time coming.
You know what? Do you remember before stream? I was like, I just feel like everything's going okay, and what could possibly go wrong? You know what? I know what went wrong. We are supposed to be recording on something also called Zencastr, which does to turn this into a podcast, and my producer is going to kill me if I don't send you this link right now. So I'm gonna copy this and put it into chat, and everybody's just gonna hang out for a second while we get this going, because last week I started it and then I didn't end up hitting record, so nothing got saved. And she will not let me live this down if I don't do this right now. So then we're just going to redo the whole intro so that she doesn't know that I didn't do this right. Okay. That's going to have to happen. Look, I mean, there's nobody here that's in chat that's going to be super surprised that this is not a single person. And Ark is here. Hi, Ark. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited for this. Is that link working?
I'll find out.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, we can't wait to see the bearded dragon. In green room. No. Green room, come into the room. Okay. And start recording. Please wait until health checks have been... Okay, 2, 1. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Community Cleric. I totally did not forget to do the podcast. Ryu, I'm sorry, and I love you. We're going to do a real quick little podcast. My name is Sarah. My guest tonight is Fenway, who's an amazing young woman. I'm not going to redo the whole thing. I'll pull it off of Twitch later, and I'll get it to her. Fenway, thank you for being here. Okay. How did you become a nerd? That is my first question.
So I became a nerd probably when I turned 11, my dad decided that it was time to introduce me to his D&D group.
Awesome.
I will say he's been playing with since he was 15. So there was a very well-established group, and myself and one other kid my age was introduced to the group right around that time, and we started playing D&D. We also played Pathfinder. We played a little bit of both. And that's how I became a nerd to begin with, because I just loved the imagination part of it. And it was all just a fantastic time. And then also, when I turned 13, we started going to a local game store, in which they did not have somebody to like organize their D&D goings on. And so my dad started organizing things. And then there were so many people starting to come after that he was like, I need another person to DM. And on the way home one night, he was like, you're going to learn how to DM. And I was like, okay.
I love that.
So the next week I just jumped in the deep end, and that's where we are.
First off, I mean, as a parent, my daughter's 13 and we started playing with her. We started her first D&D game. I think Singlis will have to correct me because we started our campaigns that our kids could play with us. And I think they were 10 at around that age, but she's just about to be 13 and we're going to our first nerd convention as a family this summer. And so like, I'm so excited that really was so meaningful to you. I love hearing, parents nerding out their kids. Those are like my hero stories right now. That's awesome. Do you remember which edition of D&D you played with your dad and his group?
So it was 5th edition.
Okay.
And
so young. Oh.
Yeah, I started in 5th, but I've played first, 3.5, and 5th. So in the past 8 years, I have played those 3 editions. And then I've also played Pathfinder 1 and 2E.
And what's the thing, like some people really love combat, some people really love role play, some people like puzzles, some people, lots of people are like a smattering of all of the above. What about like D&D and Pathfinder do you really love the most to get into in a campaign?
Well, it depends on which system I'm playing. For
Fair
Pathfinder,
enough.
I love the way that combat works in Pathfinder. But for D&D, it's definitely a puzzles and role play type of deal. That is my jam. For sure.
I have not played enough like puzzle and like traps and stuff and puzzles. Mm-hmm. I have not done nearly enough of that, either in the home game that I've been running for 3 years or the games that I've gotten to play in here on Girls Run These Worlds. We're just casting. We just opened casting today for Candlekeep Mysteries, which definitely has a lot of those elements. And I'm just so excited to see what they do with it. I think that that's going to be a lot of fun. And I love that you can pick out those elements from different game systems. Before the stream, when I was telling you kind of like, what are some of the questions that I ask, your eyes kind of lit up when I started talking about like the other fandoms and, did you read as a kid? So that's the next place that I'm going to go is like, what are the outside of TTRPG? What are the other things that you really like and that were inspirations to you kind of growing up and becoming the nerd that you are now?
Well, one of the first things is my dad's best friend, who I now basically call my uncle. When I was 5, gave me my first comic. Oh. And ever since then, he gave me like weekly comics for a little while. And then he still gives me comics to this day, every once in a while. And so comics is definitely I have probably a couple hundred of them just around. He took him and my dad took me to Free Comic Book Day. That has definitely been something that's a part of my childhood that I loved. And Also I loved and still love reading in general, mostly fantasy books.
Okay.
But my favorite book series to this day is called The Unwanteds. And it's a fantasy book series. I won't give too much away, but the premise is there is this world that basically, if you show any emotion or creativity that you before you are 13, if you show any emotion or creativity, you get sent to a purge, which basically they think that they're like unaliving you, but they're actually sending you to a world in which you get to learn how to use your creativity and emotions as magic.
I mean, I don't know. So 13 is like the higher end of the age group in which I teach. I'm a middle school teacher, so like 11, 12, 13, and that is all of the lived experience of humans. I think younger than that too, right? Like behavior is communication. Kids cry because they're feeling emotions that they can't express using words. And so oh my gosh. Okay. Is it a novel? Is it a graphic novel? Is it a comic book series? What is it?
They're novels. There are 7 books in the first series.
Does not scare me. Let's go.
And there's 6 in the follow-up series. So
Singlis, can you find that for us, like amazon.ca that, and get us some links in chat? Because I, for sure, my school year is over tomorrow. And, with all of my free time, I'm going to find some time to read this summer. So I'm all over that. What about the comics? What were like some of your first comics? What are some comics that you really love now?
Well, some of my first ones were like just general DC comics. When I was younger, they made sure to choose comics that didn't have a ton of violence and like that sort of thing. So a lot of like Ponyville, My Little Pony comics, those sorts of things, but also DC comics and Marvel comics. Like Young Justice was one of my favorites, as well as just like the kid, like they had a comic book series for a while that was like the kid versions of the Marvel superheroes. I don't remember what it's called. I can just remember it existing. But that was a good one too. Now, I mean, I enjoy all of the above. Superhero comics definitely tend to be my favorite though.
I love that. My daughter won when she was about 6, maybe. We, on Facebook, like for our friendly local game shop, they were like, it's Girls and Comics Day or something. I don't remember what the thing was. And they were like, comment below and somebody will win. And so, I commented, and my daughter won the comics, and it was like, it was the DC superhero girls, like they're all kind of teenager age, and then she also won, like, I think maybe a Wonder Woman plush, or a Wonder Girl, because they're not like women yet, Wonder Girl plush. And that has definitely made such an impact. And so now she's getting more into like graphic novels. She's 13, so she's reading like thicker books and stuff. But she's reading Lumberjanes, the Lumberjanes series, and like I'm super excited. It's such a good one. You said that you said fantasy. So other than the Unwanteds, like what were some of the ones when you were younger that really stuck out to you?
Well, obviously, not obviously, but I liked the Percy Jackson series.
Man, they're so good. They're so
they really
good.
They really are. And I liked the Roman version of Percy Jackson. So there was the Percy Jackson series, and then by the same author, there was a series written about the Roman version of the camp. And I really liked those ones too, because I mean they were the same concepts, just
different characters,
like the Roman gods. Yeah.
And then so that author Rick Riordan has like a whole publishing house now that's like Rick Riordan Presents, and so the books that they're producing right now are like like indigenous stories or Mexican stories or African stories, like from gods and demigods from around the world, and the kids who are like, they're so cool. I love that you have that connection. Um, okay, so you became a nerd really young. You DM'd like at a super young age, which I'm super stoked about. So then how did you get into TTRPG, like streaming TTRPG? What is the jump? I'm always curious about how people got into this side of it.
Well, the streaming came when for 2020, the year that nobody talks about. We had to, so for my charity, Jasper's Game Day, we had to figure out how we could still raise money, but not be at in-person events. So we tried to do streaming, or we started to do streaming, and it kind of just took off. And then once Jasper's Game Day started streaming and I was on theirs, then I was invited to other stream games of our ambassadors and just in general, and it kind of just took off from there.
I love that. What do you find is like some of the I get that some people are like, we had to go digital because, we couldn't meet in person, and I hate it and I can't wait to get back to a table with my friends. But for me, like I live in rural Nova Scotia. Like I'm northeast of Maine. I live in rural Nova Scotia. My gaming table lives on literally the other side of the country, north of Seattle. And so I wouldn't be able to play with my group if it wasn't for D&D Beyond and Roll20 and Zoom. What are some things that you think are like the positives and the things also maybe that you're really looking forward to about being in person again?
Well, the in-person is definitely like the main thing about being in person that I liked was DMing in person. You could play off people's energies better. And so like you can understand when they like something, when they don't like something. Through online, like there are so many different things like in their house, in wherever they're playing at, that can distract them and can't give you the right, like they might be like thoroughly enjoying what you're doing, but still entirely distracted.
Right.
Also in person playing it for my ADHD, it's also much easier for me to like stay on track when I'm in person playing. But the online portion of it, I really, really enjoy because it allows me to connect with people all across the country, right? Like I could play with someone, like it might be wacky time zones for us, but I could play with someone in like Germany or like in all over the world, like literally anywhere. And that's amazing to me.
I love that. And you're so right. Like, I don't know, the internet has been so good for me. I mean, I met my husband, we've been married for almost 19 years, and I met him playing a Star Trek online email RPG because there wasn't like Zoom, Skype wasn't a thing yet. And video calling through like AOL Instant Messenger was not a thing when we met. And we met playing a Star Trek email RPG. And, like 20 years later, my whole life is, built around this idea that the internet forms valuable connections. So you're right, like being able to meet people and play with people like that, I would never get the chance to, talk to you about how amazing you are if it wasn't for this. So I'm a huge fan of like, well, you and the internet in general. There are shitty parts, but curate your peace, my friends. The Twitter block button is free. I've used it multiple times today. I'm so glad I don't pay per usage there. We would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Jasper's Game Day and just like what an amazing support that provides, and the message, on your set shelf, it's got, you're not a critical failure. And I think like, I'm sure that everybody that you talk to is like, I don't want to cry about this because we all have our stories. But do you want to say something about that? I can if you don't. If you.
No, I am totally fine saying kind of like the story and the background of it. So Jasper's Game Day, I started it when I was 14, so 5 years ago now, if I can math correctly. But basically, I lost two friends of mine to suicide, and one of them was my gaming partner in crime. His name was Jasper, and he was one of the people that was introduced to the game with my dad and all of his friends with me. And that it's never easy, but I decided that I wanted to try and use any connections that I had, and the pain and the emotions that I was feeling, to create something that might be able to help people in similar situations. So I created Jasper's Game Day, and we've been going strong for 5 years, and it's been a delightful, experience to hear people's stories, be able to see the impact that is made on the internet and the world, and see the community come together even better.
I love that. I mean, yep. Dang it. Thank you for running it. It's a really great charity. Okay. What other games do you love to play? We didn't want to turn this into a sad thing. We want to celebrate Fenway, because there's so much time to talk about Jasper and how important he was and what a great legacy that you've built there. But also, I want to just celebrate you, because I love talking to women about the nerds. So what are some other games? So I know you've done Pathfinder, D&D. What are some other games? And they don't have to be RPGs. They can be board games or video games. What are some other games you liked?
Well, my family has always been a huge board game playing family. We literally have something in the house called the game closet that is literally just a closet filled with board games. We have drawers and shelves and crates filled with board games, and card games and all of that sort of stuff. So that's definitely something that I love. But also another TTRPG that I love, I'm not sure if you are familiar with, it's called Tales of Xadia.
The Dragon Prince. Did you see the season 4 trailer?
Yes.
What? Oh my gosh. Look, Dragon Prince is our family show. It's hard to get my 13-year-old to come out and hang out with us. But when she heard that season 4 was coming out, she was like, okay, so we're going to have dinner every week together in front of the TV, watching this episode every single week. This is our family show. So yes, I know what Tales of Xadia is. Go ahead.
Fantastic. I got the chance to play Tales of Xadia with some of the fandom crew, with Kim Banks, with Melly Duchette, B. Zelda, and Eliza Pearl. Mm-hmm. And that was our cast for playing Tales of Xadia. And it was fantastic. That's been one of my favorite games since. D&D is here and Tales of Xadia is right here. So I love Tales of Xadia. It's so fantastic. And then also, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but my brothers and I, my brothers are 9 and 6 right now, and I love playing Minecraft with them because
are you me, but half my age? I literally am going after this tonight. I play Minecraft bingo. We have a realm, and it's a legit bingo card. And, you fill it up and your team plays the other team. And then whoever gets bingo, the game is over and it restarts. I will play Minecraft bingo all day long. I love bingo. Okay, so go ahead. Minecraft, your brothers, go ahead.
My brothers and I play Minecraft, and that's one of the times that we because I'm a very busy person. I have work, I have Jaspers, I have school, all of that sort of thing. But pretty much like once a day, I carve out some time and we play Minecraft together. And it's just our time to like really connect and like, play together and spend time together. So that's something that I really, really enjoy.
I think that is so awesome that, like, as a big sister, you're making that time. You mentioned school. I assume that, like, you're 19-ish now?
I am 19.
Almost
Yes.
not Fenway the teen DM anymore. Like, we'll talk about rebranding in a second. That was a question from the chat. But are you going to go to college or university? What's your plans?
So I am actually already in college.
Amazing.
I've been in college since my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
I've been taking college classes since my freshman year of high school. It's been a wild ride. But so I am going to be going to I'm trying to decide right now if I want to go to a community college or if I want to go to the university that my work helps pay for.
Right.
But so, like there's pros and cons to both of those right now. But yeah, that's my plan right now.
Do you know what you want to do? Like, do you know what you're going to major in?
Yes.
Not that you have to share that, by the way. I'm not like, you can keep things secret.
No, it's just a very like, once you hear it, you'll understand that it's completely like guessable. I want to go into psychology.
I love
it. So like everything that I've done up until now, like it definitely makes sense. So yes.
I love it. Look, like I shared, I'm a middle school teacher. That's not a surprise to anybody that's in chat. I don't get to see kids like as they make that transition towards university, I get to see them as they like for the first time go, oh yeah, I should really start thinking about like something, that's not soccer after school or bike riding after school with my friends. And so I don't really get to see the other end of that process. So I always love hearing, that young people, it doesn't have to be college. I'm not elitist. Like it just that you have a plan, I think is important. Yeah. So I love hearing that. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Of course.
We're halfway done this time sales. Okay, I want to ask, like cosplay and LARPing. Is that something that you have done or that you're interested in? Or you're like, that's not for me? Because I know you go to conventions, right?
I do go to conventions, yes. I have semi done it in the past. Like I've dressed up, done makeup, like gotten a dress, those sorts of things. I've never done it full out. It's not necessarily something that I'm super passionate about for myself, but I love seeing the people that are. They are so gorgeous and also sometimes very creepy, just to like look at, because like there can be some times that are just like that's so good that it's like the villain is so just like realistic, right? Like it's so like they're great and I love seeing them at conventions. It's just not typically something that I super enjoy doing for myself.
What are some of your favorite conventions that you've been to?
Well, I mean, my two favorites right now, my two major favorites are GaryCon and GameholeCon. I also really enjoy Winter Fantasy. It's a convention in Indiana. It's a smaller convention that's run by Baldwin Games that's really just D&D. It's like that's just cool. A D&D convention. It's kind of like a more, not necessarily small town, but like smaller group. Everybody knows everybody else. And it's super fun and you to see all of your like friends there. And so that's a good one too.
That's really cool. We're going to Gen Con for the first time. Like we lived on the West Coast for a long time. So I'd been to Emerald City Comic Con and I'm originally from San Diego. So like I remember going to San Diego Comic Con when it was comics and like 400 or 500 people max, like in the mid 90s. My stepdad took me like once and most of it was like inappropriate comics for a child to be around. Like that was kind of the vibe, you know? And so I'm super excited that my daughter is going. My husband is coming. I don't know. I don't think we've ever been to a convention. We've never been to a nerd. Well, okay, it was a nerd convention, but it wasn't like a D&D or like a gaming nerd convention. We went to the Apple computer convention in like 2004.
Oh, yes.
So it was a nerd convention. It was just a different nerd convention.
Different kind of nerd
convention. Different kind of nerd convention. So yeah, but we're going to Gen Con, and like I'm so excited, and like shout out to Ark here in the chat, because I didn't know that you have to like register for other stuff. It's not just like you get the tickets and then you go and show up, which is like what some of the other ones are like. Right. You have to like sign up for stuff. There's a whole other system on top of buying tickets. And she was like, so I got all of my things. And I was like, what are you talking about? And thank goodness she told me, because we would have shown up with no plans and nothing. So we're super excited to go. And so that leads me into, because one of the things that I know that Gen Con does is they do dice as part of like, you know, like instead of like I'm sure you can buy like the Gen Con t-shirt and stuff, but they do specific dice, and you have a very specific dice, like, I was going to say predilection, but that's not the right connotation that I want to use here. You have like a very specific dice preference here. So talk to us about your dice.
So I'm a little bit of a dice snob. I used to like deny it, but I won't anymore because I can't deny it anymore. Because you see my collection and you're like, you definitely. Anyway, I usually pretty much only play with crystal or gemstone dice sets. So I have amazing. A lot of them. I think I have 13 different gemstone sets, if I counted correctly before this interview. There's a lot of them. Each of them is a different kind of gemstone. And
that's like more than a calendar year of like birthstones. You have more.
Yes.
Okay.
And most of them are like the big dice, the regular size dice, and then 3 of them these are my favorites. 3 of them are the tiny dice.
Mini gemstone dice. And where do you like get them on Etsy? Do you buy them at conventions? Do you have a specific dealer you really love? Where do you get your dice?
So there's been a lot of different, I don't typically get them from one specific dealer necessarily, which would be great because then I could say I had a dealer, but I don't. However, I usually get them all at conventions. I think I've gotten all but 2 at conventions. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds about right. I've gotten all but 2 at conventions. And the 2 that I got at non-conventions were WyrmWood gaming ones. They do nice dice sets. Other than that, I mean, it's just been kind of random, whatever ones I fell in love with at the convention.
That makes sense to me. I don't know if you watch WyrmWood's like YouTube, like their Worm Life episodes. They're currently developing a GM screen, which just looks better every single episode that they release. I don't have any WyrmWood stuff yet, but like, no, it's part of the dream. I have big girl money. I should probably do something. It's quality. It's expensive, but then also I have to ship to Canada and the Canadian dollar is worth less. So it's like 40 to 50% more expensive. And so like, but the GM screen might break me. But they were mentioning that they're doing, so, okay, for people who don't watch Worm Life, in the middle of the GM panel, there's like a cutout in like a shield shape, and you can get different insets. So you could get like a laser etched metal thing that says like your gaming group name, or you can get clear plastic to put in like a photo or like some art or something. But one of the things that they are going to do is the gemstone inset. And I was like, I want the purple wood and like I just love a purple wood, and then like a purple gemstone inset would be. When I win the lotto, I don't play Fenway. I am going to I'm gonna do a whole room in WyrmWood. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. I have some WyrmWood stuff that they've given me through Jasper's. And this is my favorite thing ever.
Oh, the inlay ones.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So it's silver and gold inlay, and then they're black, like the black wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous and it is so smooth, and it's my favorite thing ever. And it holds my mini gemstone dice.
That is so cool. I really it's something that has really stood out to me is the TTRPG like accessories community really values TTRPG players. You know, yourself and Jasper, but also like you know, even like just AP streams that don't have a ton of viewers, but like they're willing to partner and take a risk on them. And like I really appreciate that. Shout out WyrmWood if you want to send anything to Girls Run These Worlds. We would love to partner with you. Nobody from maybe they're watching you. They're not here to. Okay. So you've been a DM for a really long time. Do you prefer to DM or do you prefer to play?
I mean, it depends. I really enjoy DMing, but also playing every once in a while. I try to do a balance so that I don't get DM burnout. Because there was a while that I DM'd 3-ish times a week, like for months. And there was a point where I was just like, yeah, I'm not DMing anymore. Like never again.
Yeah.
But it just turned out to be DM burnout for a little while. And so I took a few months to DM much less and, you know, play much more. And so now I try and balance myself out a little bit.
I love that. Is there things that you, is it like system specific, or is it like I have this story that I want to tell, or is it depending on who else is in the party? Like, how do you decide when you want to do it?
Well, I only DM D&D because that's the only one that I'm really proficient in. But I can DM pretty much most things, but I DM mostly homebrew. Because that allows me to do whatever the heck I want with the game. And I've created my own setting, and that's what I really love to play in. And that's definitely my favorite.
I love that. I saw somebody today on Twitter said, everything that I DM is homebrew because I don't know what's going on and I'm just making it up as I go along. And I was like, you know, I use modules because I like to start with a module and then kind of like build up to see like what my characters want to do. But that's very true. I don't know that I've ever just run something by the books. It was a good point. It's a good point. What is an NPC that either you have used as a DM or that has been in a game that's really memorable for you that other people should use in games?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if other people would use it in their games, but one of my favorite NPCs that I've used has been there's a little baby lightning bolt, a sentient lightning bolt. And it can hide inside like metal objects. It can like create an electrical current and hide inside of it. And like it can communicate through Morse code of buzzes. Like it'll like buzz you a little bit because it can't speak, but it can like buzz you. And it's adorable. And his name is Sparky. And like obviously, because like what else
Obvious.
would you name it? But he was I created him as part of my campaign that I ran in my own setting, and he's been a part of many other games since.
I just totally got this like a idea for like a wizard who has a familiar, but they're not like a traditional wizard. They're like an electrical engineer. And so their familiar would be like Sparky, the little bolt of electricity NPC. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Somebody do some fan art. I know I have artists that are in this chat right now. Somebody get me some fan art. I need to see. It makes such a good tattoo also. Okay, I will move on. You're 19. We can talk about tattoos. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Speaking of, you're 19. You're almost 20. I mean, I don't know when your birthday is, but like almost 20.
I've got 7 months left.
7 months. Is your birthday in January? February?
Yes, January.
What day? And do you mind if I ask what day in January?
Yeah, January 29th.
Dude, you're so close. My mod's birthday is in January, and my birthday's in January. So, yay, January kids are the best kids. That's fact. We're putting that out there on the internet. What are you going to do when you're not Fenway the Teen DM anymore? Are you going to rebrand?
That's
the Fenway idea. 20s DM?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Something.
So I'm going to do something. It's going to be a rebranding. But I don't know what I'm going to rebrand myself as yet. My idea is to pass the Teen DM name on to someone else in the community.
That's awesome.
And so, but I don't know who yet. Because I don't really know a ton of people who are younger than me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That is, I'm trying to think through my list. Don't know that they're like active in Twitter, but it's JB Silvestri's kiddo, and their homebrew inspired me so much that I made them like a campaign poster just because of like how they described it on Twitter. But I think that's like, you're right. There's not many. Maybe it's just that they're not in Twitter, which is like the predominant area that I, am in for TTRPGs and like, meeting people. But right. That's such a cool, like the Dread Pirate Roberts, like you're just going to keep handing it down. There will always be a teen DM. I love that so much. That's so cool. And like a ceremony, I'm all for. Okay. Who are some other inspirations in, and while you're thinking about that, I preface this every week. I don't prep my guests that I'm going to ask this question. So let me talk straight to the audience and to future VOD Squad and YouTube. I did not prep Fenway that I was going to ask this question. And you could be Fenway's best friend, but this question puts people on the spot and your brain sometimes goes numb after you've been talking to somebody for an hour, and it's a lot of pressure. So if you don't get named, it's not a reflection that you're not important. It's that this question puts people a little bit on the spot, but I like that it like maybe will spark something of like, oh yeah, I got to talk about it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of people in like the TTRPG community that I'm really good friends with and who have been super inspirational to me. Like one of my good friends and also birthday buddy, her name's Christina Ariel. She does a lot of Star Wars work and that sort of thing. She's an amazing friend to me and also a super inspirational person just in general. And then also, like Kaylee Bray, she's another good friend of mine. And Diana D'Amico, she is the diehard dice person, and also just like a hilarious person on Twitter. She's a good friend of mine and, a great person to follow for anyone. trying to think. Like, there's just so many people.
And it's impossible. Like, you could spend an hour, the whole hour, answering that question, because I know it's impossible. But thank you. That's awesome. And my mods are like in chat getting those links. So I love that. I love that for everybody. And we're like, I don't know, we're coming up right to the end. We've only got a couple of minutes left because this time like really flies. What is a game that you would like to play that you haven't gotten to play yet? Oh,
I'm sorry, I was answering in the chat.
Okay. That's okay.
For the third person. I mean, I really want to try and play Vampire the Masquerade because I have not played it before. And that is definitely something that I want to do. But I don't know. I mean, I'm really down to play any other game. One of the games that I really enjoy also is called MetaQuest. And it's spelt, hold on, I'll put it in the chat. Because it's weirdly spelled. How do you spell quest?
Quest?
That's why. And
with the threes instead of e's.
Yes, okay. Yes. That's what always messes me up. But it was created by a friend of mine. His name is Sig Neutron. And that's another game that I want to play more of that one because I've only played it once. And then another game I want to play more of is the Ghostbusters TTRPG.
Man, that looks so cool. That would be a really fun one to have on Girls Run These Worlds. If there's anybody out there that'll run a Ghostbusters RPG, definitely.
I know someone who would run it, but they are he's not a woman. So
yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'll watch it. It's just that our particular channel really
yes.
Girls run the worlds. Like, guys can be on the shows. We're not exclusionary. Just girls run the world.
Right.
I've never played Vampire the Masquerade, but when I started streaming on Vancouver by Night, which is a VTM channel, but I did their D&D content. I was in like the first D&D stream they had done in like a long time. And then they let me, they encouraged me, they uplifted me to DM my own stream on Sundays, which was really cool. And so like, I've never played Vampire, but like, look, if you're looking to play VTM, VBN, I will send you a connection. I will get you connected with Steve and Joe because they are such great supportive people, and you would have a great time. And they do charity. We did a Jasper's Game Day charity in February.
They are a Jasper's Game Day ambassador.
Yes.
So I am very familiar with Steve.
You know, Steve is the best of humans, and Joe is the best of humans. And like, I care for them both very deeply. And yeah, it's I did a Jasper's Game Day charity in February with Lauren Obo was in our game, and she's gonna come and be on Community Cleric next in August. So like,
that's exciting.
Hey, yeah, I'm super excited to get the chance to talk to her amazing. Like this. Yes, she was so much fun to play with. So that's awesome. Hey Tav, welcome. Tavernauts in the chat. Hi Tav, thanks buddy. What is something that you really want to pass on to your brothers about TTRPG? Like, because they play Minecraft, but are they TTRPG nerds yet, or are you working on it?
They are actually. They are. Yes, they play D&D with actually my dad's best friend and his son, and my dad, and sometimes me. And they also started getting some of their homeschool friends involved in D&D. So yeah, they are definitely TTRPG nerds. One of them loves to play a Tabaxi Rogue, and the other loves to play a Aarakocra monk. And so those are their favorite characters.
A cat and a bird. I love that so much. And do they have that relationship where like they'll like?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're like, you said 6 and 9?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Come on. Yeah, that's so much fun. What a good age, because their stories must be like so vivid. Their characters must be so vivid. I'm such a huge fan. Is there any, and it's okay if you want to say no, is there any chance we could see the bearded dragon? What's the bearded dragon's name?
Oh yeah. His name is Simber. He's named after one of the characters from The Unwanteds. So yes. Hold on, let me get him out real quick.
I love that. Thanks everybody for being in chat as I'm talking to Fenway. We're gonna get to see Simber, the bearded dragon. I'm so excited. And Tab, thanks for continuing the sub. I appreciate that. We love the subs and the support here. Thank you. And if you're new in chat and you haven't been around before, hit follow and stick around. We have 19 shows in production here at Girls Run These Worlds, and we're casting right now for Candlekeep Mysteries. So okay.
He was sleeping a little bit.
Oh, buddy. So the camera crops really low. Gotta put. Oh,
hold on. I'm gonna turn off the blur real quick.
It looks like he's got like a little beard. It's really adorable. Oh. And so like, why a bearded dragon, and how old is he? And like, do you have to keep him in pairs? I think that I heard somewhere that
you actually cannot keep them in pairs.
Oh, you can't keep them in pairs.
No,
okay.
So bearded dragons are very solitary animals and will eat each other if they're kept in pairs. So
yeah, yes, don't get him a girlfriend. No. That's bad.
But his 1 year gotcha day is on July 3rd. And so he is almost a year old. Yeah, so he's doing good. Bearded dragon, because I don't know, I'm allergic to a lot of different animals. And so, like all of the fur and feathered animals I'm allergic to. And he is not fur or feathered animals. And I had another one when I was much younger. I got one when I was 5, and she was my pet until I was 13, and then I just recently got him, and so he's a great baby, and he's also very long.
And they come in like colors, right? There's like multiple. There's like reddish and like bluish a little bit.
Yes. So he actually does, when he's much brighter, he does have a little blue in his scales, and then he has the red on his back, obviously. And then there are a lot of different colors that they can come in. They can come in completely white. Some of them have been like see-through on their bellies. There are dark red and black ones. And then, the typical color is the orange, but he is a much brighter orange than a lot of bearded dragons. And he's got that blue in his scales. Blue is actually one of the rarer colors of the available colors.
I had a student, I work with students with exceptionalities, with learning exceptionalities, and I had a student who's like autistic hyperfixation was bearded dragons. And so like 4 years ago, I could have told you the complete like repertoire of knowledge of bearded dragons, but like it's been a couple years since I've had that kiddo. Oh, he's so adorable. Okay, anyway, we're out of time. Because this hour just flies.
It really does.
I tell everybody. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you're doing next, and anything else that you want to talk about.
I mean, you can find me on Twitter at Fenway Teen DM. You can find me on Instagram at Fenway.Jones, and you can find me on Facebook at Fenway Jones. And I mean, I'm right now. I'm kind of I'm still technically getting over Jasper's Game Week in May. That was a very long a long week, but I'm just kind of doing some small events here and there, and you could find me making posts about things, oftentimes on Twitter, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being my guest tonight. Oh, shoot. I was usually, while people talk about what themselves and like what they're doing, I go and I check for somewhere to raid. Come on, Sarah. You've given me the nerves, Fenway. I was so excited to talk to you. I was like so nervous. But you're just so delightful and awesome and easy to talk to. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I think we're going to end up raiding over to TTRPG. They're doing a Thirsty Sword Lesbians one shot. And look, we love that. That's excellent. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to Simber, the bearded dragon, for making an appearance. And thank you, Fenway, for being here. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. And, you're doing amazing things. And thank you on behalf of the, you hear it a lot, but let me join the chorus of voices. So, thanks everybody for being with us. You'll see us next week for Fuzka, who is one of our local DMs here on Girls Run These Worlds. And she's going to talk to us about her nerd life as well. So thanks. And there's children in my lawn. This is a good time to go. Not my children, so I don't know what's going on.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.